This is Chris Johnson with ABCD News with your world stories. In Uganda, some 90% of the population lives without access to electricity. Eva is a community leader who lives in Uganda, and she is a part of a group called Solar Sisters. It is a growing group of female entrepreneurs who are creating access to energy while earning an income to support their own families. Eva has been a witness to the harsh conditions that comes with living in the rural areas such as Uganda with a shortage of electricity. So she knows all about the health hazards. She also says that this lack of electricity prevents people from escaping poverty because they can only work so long until the light runs out, unlike people with electricity who can work the full day. Eva wants to create access to safe, affordable, and clean energy, and these sisters are hoping to make a big change. Also, this past Friday, President of Russia signed a law stating that no more Russian orphans could be adopted by U.S. citizens. Many people who are already planning on adopting were thrown into confusion after hearing about this. There were over 1,000 adoptions last year, and now there are 50 pending. In the past, Russian law stated that a child could only be adopted by U.S. citizens if they had been rejected by 3 different Russian families. The main reason this law was brought up to be signed was because Russian nationalists argued that it's a shame for Russian children to be sold to economic refugees. As for the pending children scheduled to be adopted, we don't have the answers yet, but we will get back to you on that. And here's national news. Powerful earthquake sparked a tsunami warning for the hundreds of miles of the Alaskan and Canadian coastline. But the alert was cancelled when no damaging waves were generated. The magnitude 7.5 quake and tsunami warning that followed caused concern in some coastal communities, with alarms sounding and people rushing to higher ground for safety. But the Alaska Tsunami Warning Center later said the waves are too small to pose a threat, reaching just 6 inches above normal sea level in places such as Sitka and Port Alexander. The temblor struck at midnight Friday, 1 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Saturday, and was centered about 60 miles west of Craig, Alaska. Seismologist Jana Persley of the USGS said the quake was followed by 6 aftershocks, the strongest of which registered at 5.1 and came nearly 4 hours after the initial quake. Residents say belongings were tossed off the walls as the earthquake was unfolding. The tsunami warning was eventually expanded to include coastal areas from Cape Fairweather, Alaska, to the northern tip of Vancouver Island, Canada, an area extending more than 700 miles. In addition to the warning, a tsunami advisory was briefly in effect for Alaska coastline areas to the north of the warning zone, as well as the south of the zone, from the Washington state border to the northern tip of Vancouver Island. Also, 4 people, including a gunman who was suspected of taking hostages inside a house in Aurora, Colorado, died Saturday after a standoff with the police. The episode began about 3 a.m. when shots were heard on East Ithaca Place, about 16 miles southeast of downtown Denver, said Sergeant Cassidy Carlson, a spokesman for the Aurora Police Department. A woman who had escaped from the house told officers that shots had been fired, that she observed 3 people inside the home who appeared lifeless as she was leaving. According to the statement released by the police on Saturday afternoon, about 50 officers, including members of SWAT unit and hostage negotiators, were called. Mrs. Carlson said, when attempts to talk to the man by telephone and bullhorn were unsuccessful, the police statement said officers moved in using an armed vehicle around 8 a.m., which was fired upon. The police were unable to force the gunman out of the house using gas, Sergeant Carlson said, and about an hour later officers shot him to death after he appeared in the second-floor window. Inside, the police said they found bodies of a woman and 2 other men. Sergeant Carlson did not identify the victims or the gunman, and said the investigators did not know what set off this episode.
Thank you, Chris, for that national news. Now here's sports for you athletes. Hockey is back, and it took nearly 4 months and 1 long night to get the game back on the ice. With the season on the line, the NHL and the Players Association agreed on a tentative pact to end a 113-day lockout and save what is left of the fractured schedule. Gary Bettman and Union Executive Director Donald Furr ceased being adversaries and announced the deal while standing side by side near a wall toward the back of the negotiating room and showing signs of weariness. A marathon negotiating session that lasted more than 16 hours, stretching from Saturday afternoon until just before dawn Sunday, produced a 10-year deal. The players have been locked out since September 16, the day after the previous agreement expired. That deal came after an extended lockout that wiped out the entire 2004 to 2005 season. Time was clearly a factor, with the sides facing a deadline of Thursday or Friday to reach a deal that would allow for a 48-hour game season to start a week later. Beatman had said the league could not allow a season of fewer than 48 games per team. All games through January 14, along with the All-Star Game and the New Year's Day Winter Classic, had already been canceled, claiming more than 50% of the original schedule. Without an agreement, the NHL faced the embarrassment of losing 2 seasons due to a labor dispute, something that has never happened in any other North American sports league. The 2004-2005 season was lost while the sides negotiated hockey's first salary cap. Swansea City and Arsenal kept their FA Cup hopes alive on Sunday after a dramatic 2-2 draw at the Liberty Stadium with a 3-goal flurry in the final 10 minutes following a lightning strike from Michu. The big Spaniard made an instant impact in the 58th minute of the third round tie when he scored a little more than a minute after he came on to the chance of "he scores when he wants" from a spirited Welsh crowd. Arsenal, sensing their best chance of a first trophy since 2005 was slipping through their fingers, replied with a Lucas Podolski equalizer in the 81st minute. Kieran Gibbs then sent the visitors 2-1 up with a volley 2 minutes later before Danny Graham grabbed an equalizer from close range in the 87th minute. Collecting a long ball nodded on by Nathan Dyer, Michu muscled through the defense by lifting the ball past Pierre Mertesacker in a strong and smooth movement before calmly slotting the ball home. It was his 3rd goal against Arsenal this season after scoring twice at the Emirates in the Premier League last month.
Thanks, BJ. Now your local news. Last Saturday, Burleson's 100th anniversary was celebrated. Residents from all around the city, big and small, gathered around for the countdown to light the Christmas tree and watch the fireworks go off. Everyone was getting in the Christmas spirit. Earlier in the day, Santa even made an appearance. He rode up to Burleson's Rec Center in a sleigh for breakfast and entertained all the little children, giving them a chance to share their wishes and see his helping elves. Sausage, pancakes, and orange juice were enjoyed by everyone at the break for breakfast. There was also a craft fair at the Burleson Senior Center that kept everyone busy all day until Santa had to board a sleigh to attend the annual Reindeer Club parade before the lights show in downtown later that night. It was a great day filled with fun to celebrate the anniversary of Burleson and get everyone in the holiday spirit. One bad decision can change the course of many lives. This was proved at Burleson High School in the drama known as Shattered Dreams. 2 weeks ago, on Tuesday, students were released from their classes to find a crash scene at the front of their high school. A vehicle had collided with another vehicle involving 5 of the students' classmates. In one car were Landon Whitlock and Chris Ripka playing the role of an intoxicated driver, and in the other were Brittany Cummings, Rachel Peters, and Mandy Sow. Burleson police and firefighters responded to the crash with ambulance support. Peters was announced dead, and Cummings and Sow had serious injuries but survived. Since Ripka was driving intoxicated, his charge increased to intoxication manslaughter, a second-degree felony that can carry on with it a 20-year jail sentence and a $10,000 fine. Shattered Dreams was designed to show students just how real one bad decision could affect your life and others. Jacobson spoke about what he thought of the project. He said, "It provides an awareness of what drinking and driving causes. It does not impact just the people involved in the accident, but everyone in the community." While Peter's life was taken away by Ripka's poor choice, he found his life was taken in jail. He's hopeful that this experience is something from which his fellow classmates can also benefit and take with them in their life as a lesson. Shattered Dreams didn't take place last year because administrators couldn't find a time to fit it in with testing, so the project returned this year with an early November date. Burleson is hopeful it can be an every other year occurrence, rotating between the 2 Burleson high schools. Now Devin with the live weather report.
Hello everyone, today is December 21st and it is sunny to partly cloudy with a high of 66 with winds southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. And on Christmas Day, we will have a 40% chance of rain with winds at north to northeast to northwest at 13 to 15 miles per hour with a high of 54. And if you're planning to go anywhere on Christmas, I would bring a raincoat. Now back to you.